Well, hello there, art poppers. How you doing? Welcome to the video for June 2023. Like true professionals, we had a script and we shot everything out of order so we could edit it together neatly later on. That's not Giacometti, but like true amateurs, we didn't bother with continuity. So if you see me wearing different clothes for the same scene, that's why. So yeah. On with the show. I've been waiting for this day for quite a while because I didn't want to be seen as promoting the event. It finished in Kobe today and now I feel free to comment on it. I'm talking about Van Gogh Alive, the world's most visited immersive exhibition experience. Their words from their website, not mine. But I think first a little bit of background on how I feel or don't feel about Vincent van Gogh, or Goho, or Gogh, whichever way you want to say it. Here's an edited clip from a live stream I did last year. Vinny. Let's talk about Vinny, shall we? Vinny Van G. I don't feel much about him at all. I'll tell you why. I've never been a big fan of his paintings. Never kind of got to me in the same way people are like, oh, he's so amazing. And a few years ago, we had the opportunity to go and see some of his paintings here in Japan. Actually, it was in Hyogo, at the Hyogo Prefectural Art Gallery or Museum. And we went there to see this exhibition, and the theme of the actual show was based around his letters to his brother Theo. What was great about it is show the progression of Vinny Van G's life through his paintings and the various stages, and I actually learned a lot of things I didn't know. For example, he was not originally a painter. I think he was going to go into the family business, and then one day when he was about 27 he woke up and decided he was going to become a painter. Just like that. So basically he goes to France, he studies under all these great artists and teachers. But I notice he's always copying their styles, he's copying their drawing techniques, everything he does is copy. And then he keeps building up, having friendships with certain artists. And this is actually a kind of common thread with Vinny Van G. He seems to become friendly with certain artists. He lives with them, he copies their style, incorporates into what he's doing, and then they have some kind of argument, probably based in jealousy over success or something. That's a common reason why artists fall out. So, and then he moves on to somebody else, and this is like a pattern going on. And you can see in this exhibition, there's a kind of gradual change as he keeps meeting different people and then influenced by their painting, he puts it in his own. There was one painting there, the head of a girl. I guess it was the original painting, I'm not sure, but it was terrible. It's the worst bit of painting I think I've ever seen. Unless it was a study or sketch, because I just checked it on the internet. Perhaps it was an early version or a sketch or something, but it was a terrible piece of painting. It was really awful, absolutely awful. And people were standing in front of it going, and it kind of builds up and builds up, and then it gets to the point where Vinny Van G goes into the hospital for his mental health. And then he comes out of the institution and he's painting all these fabulous paintings that he's really well known for. And actually going into the hospital and coming out of the hospital, there's a big gap in his technique and style and what he's doing as a painter. Now, as I said, right from in the whole exhibition, it's really gradual kind of change is happening through all his artwork. It's always gradual. And suddenly, boom, then it kind of hit me. I just stood there in the middle of the room looking at this big painting. And it was a good bit of painting. It was a fabulous bit of painting, to be honest. But it just hit me and I thought, Vinnie Van G, he didn't do it. He didn't paint it. And if he did paint it, he copied somebody else we met in the hospital. There's no reason why at the end he was not still copying people. Those later paintings were all influenced by somebody else he met in the hospital. Because he did do art classes as a kind of therapy in the hospital. And so it would be other people doing the same thing. So either he didn't do the paintings or he copied someone else's style, but they're not original, like to him as such. I mean, he painted them maybe. With Vinnie Van G, the whole industry around him is absolutely huge. There's so many people working in the Vinnie Van G industry. And you think about all these people who spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on these paintings, purely as an investment because they think the value is going to rise. One thing that sells paintings is a damn good story. If you have a damn good story, people love that about painting or any art. So Theo and maybe some associates can create the story around Vinnie. And it's a great story. Think about all the things he did, the ear thing and all that kind of stuff, and then died of penniless, basically. But he's left behind these paintings, which are good, but it doesn't matter who they're by. It's just, you couldn't make it up, it's just amazing. It's so great. It's a great story. Theo creates this persona about his brother, and he sells a few paintings, and people get into this kind of thing about the whole story of the artists and how these paintings were produced, and gradually it grows and grows and grows. And the thing about humans is we are very quick to take on cognitive bias, okay? And that's when we use our previous experiences and whatever to just filter out. We don't actually, oh, well, he likes it, so it must be good. That's all you need. You need a few people to say, that's great, and people who are respected. And it snowballed, and it just kept going until you have the actual giant that is Vinnie Van G now. And, the irony of it all is Vinnie Van G made nothing out of it. Of course, no one can say anything, because if they do that, the whole industry will come crashing down. A very few people will lose a lot of money. And so we have now a situation where this juggernaut of Vinnie Van G has to be maintained. Because if it's not maintained, well, it's possibly that economies could fall because of it. Who knows? It's just an idea. Actually, just let me share a couple of things with you from the website. Venture into an exciting new world. Forgo all preconceived ideas of traditional museum visits. Dispel all notions of tiptoeing through silent art galleries to view masterpieces from afar. Change how you engage with art. Vitalize your senses and challenge your beliefs in a completely unique, stimulating Vincent van Gogh experience. And there's more. Listen to this. Be prepared for a vibrant symphony of light, color, and sound, combined and amplified to create what visitors are calling an unforgettable multi-sensory experience. In an instant, Van Gogh Alive transports visitors to another time and place, immersing them in the artist's world. Adults and children alike wander throughout the space, exploring nooks and crannies and engaging with the experience in a manner that transcends traditional installations. If you haven't been, they're using projection mapping, music and custom-built sets to help you to feel that you are Van Gogh. You are immersed in his world. There's no mention of the mental asylum that I know of. I couldn't see that anywhere. And all the fights and arguments he had with people. But this fresh approach to experiencing art, which they talk about, which, as we know, is just a way of saying, we found a way to get more money out of you suckers. But it's worked. This experience has been in more than 80 cities around the world. And according to the website, more than 8.5 million people have seen this experience. Now, the one that was in Kobe was at the Hyogo Prefectural Museum, and the entry fee was 2,500 yen. So taking that, and I did some rough calculations, 8.5 million people, let's say half are children, half are adults, probably not, but let's say, children went there because it was aimed at children. So 4.25 million adults, 4.25 million children, adults paying 2,500, I guess the children paying half. It gave us a grand total of $115 million, about. I said it's a rough calculation. It doesn't include profits, obviously, from the gift shops. But the interesting thing is that money raised from more than 8.5 million people going to see this experience would not pay for the most expensive painting by Van Gogh, which was sold at auction last year, November last year, just after I was ranting about it. The actual painting was an 1888 painting called Orchid with Cypresses, which was actually owned by the co-founder of Microsoft, Paul Allen. It was part of his collection. His collection went to auction last year. But this painting was among them, and it sold for $117.2 million. Even if all those people put the money into a kitty to pay for a painting instead of going to see the experience, they couldn't afford the most expensive painting. Now you're probably thinking, so what? That's why they went to the experience. That's a good point. But what I'm building up to is how this machine is just getting out of hand. Last year when I talked about this, I thought it was Theo who was the brains behind the operation. And I did some more research and found out Theo actually passed away a few months after Vincent. And it was his widow. She was the one who took Vincent's paintings and using Theo's contacts from the Paris art world, and Theo had a lot of great contacts. I just looking at here, he had a gallery in Paris and he had arrangements with so many famous painters. There was Monet, Degas, Gauguin, Cézanne, Toulouse-Lautrec, Pissarro, and Seurat as well. He put on exhibitions for all these artists or had some connection with them. So his contacts were absolutely amazing in Paris at that time. So so it was Theo's widow who took the paintings and ran with them. She's the one who created the empire. And what an empire it turned out to be. It's a money-making machine. You know the interesting thing, and this is actually on the website, the company that organizes these, they make a big point of Vincent only sold one painting during his life. One painting during his life, and now look. So what does it tell us? Well, to quote badly, one of the greatest action actors of the 20th century, it's all bullshit. Hey, how's it going? I don't know what date it is, so I shot some footage earlier this week where I actually started painting the petals on a sunflower. As you can see, I've painted over them. One thing I've really learned over the years is not to be precious about my paintings. If I don't like it, just paint over it. So I did. The petals of the flower, the sunflower, were not working how I wanted to. I don't know, they just didn't look right. Plus when I was painting them, I was thinking too much. I was thinking, oh, is this brush stroke going to be good? Are people going to like this brush stroke? And I was like, and then after I was like, what are you thinking? Give it up. This past week, I also painted over this. Well, I say painted over this. Right, you're probably going, what was it? Well, it was this. So yeah, I painted over that, and I actually think it looks better. If any young artist was asking me for advice, I would say never be afraid to paint over something. I got a whole bunch of canvases I think I'm going to paint over in the future. I talked about this with, I think, who is it? I think it was Jack Slander once I talked about. I think it was last year I was talking about painting over old paintings. He was like, what? If I don't like it anymore? And he was arguing, well, other people might like it. And I was going, yeah, but to be honest, it's a bit selfish, I know, but to be honest, it doesn't matter if other people like it. It's whether I like it or not. It's important. Somebody actually said to me last month, they liked that painting. And I was kind of like, well, if you want it, if you like it, take it, kind of thing, you know? Make an offer, take it away. Otherwise, I'm going to paint over it. I know that an artist once told me, talking about another artist's work, he said, I really like that person's work, but not enough to buy it. So, actually, maybe that's what people think about my paintings as well. They like them, but not enough to buy them. Anyway, enough of me wittering on. Time to move on. Hello, how are you? It's the end of June, June 30th, which means it's the end of this wonderful Australian contemporary art show that I put on for this month. That means it's the last time that we'll see these paintings in Japan, because next week or the week after I have to start packing everything up and sending it back to Australia. I mean, the people who've come to see this work have really liked his work. They've appreciated it and stuff like that. But the number of people who've come here, I mean, one thing I think this month has shown is that Osaka people have no interest in Australian contemporary art. I remember last year for Roland's solo show, we sent an invitation to the Australian embassy in Tokyo, inviting them to come here and meet him. I didn't expect anyone from Tokyo to come, to be honest, but I also extended the invitation to the staff in the consulate here in Osaka. And how many people do you think turned up? None. Yeah. What chance does an Australian artist have in Japan if not even Australians can be bothered to support it? Wasn't all negative though, I must admit. The Australian embassy very kindly put Roland's event onto their website. So that was good. I really appreciated that because it looked good on their website. It looked good. End of 2 years here at Shinsaibashi Gallery building. The approach to the gallery has changed. It's quite obvious people don't give a shit, and that's okay, that's fine. The more these people kind of ignore me or take no interest in what I'm doing, the more I realize I'm doing the right thing. The misunderstood are always ignored. Anyway, I have to end this on a positive note, otherwise I get into trouble. Next Friday is the 2nd anniversary of the gallery. We're doing a special 20% off everything in the gallery. In the next video, I'm going to be talking more a bit about the past 2 months. I think we'll have a bit of a heart-to-heart and talk about my experiences, what I've learned, the ups and downs of having a gallery in this building in Osaka, if that makes any sense. Anyway, time for a beer.